Well, the reports on the Patriots. The Patriots are saying all the right things when it comes to potential draft picks like Campbell and like Travis Hunter, Will Campbell, Travis Hunter. There's been reports that Hunter is the best receiver in the draft. I will tell you this much. I do not need to watch any video on Travis Hunter. I think he could take a slant to the house at any time. I think that he can beat people one-on-one. I think he can go over the top for someone who's 6 foot tall. I think he would be outstanding in the Josh McDaniels offense. But he doesn't have the size. I do think he could play inside if he had to, but I think he's a true X-receiver. So I know that other people have their own opinions, and listen, this is the draft. We always don't. What do I know? I watched a guy in college. I just have an opinion. Doesn't always work out, right? It doesn't. That's just the way of it. So there are some mock drafts that are out there that we'll get to and coming up in just a little bit. But I do prefer Hunter over any other wide receiver in the draft. And, you know, what can he do in this Josh McDaniels offense? But I'm not sure what Mike Vrabel ultimately wants to do. This is why myself and Skaz, just to be consistent, we're against Mike Vrabel being the coach. We saw what they've done in free agency when it comes to defense first. But how does Mike Vrabel want to build his team? You know what he wants to do. He wants to build it through the trenches. He doesn't want a star receiver. He thinks he can fix the guys that are here. McDaniels, I'm sure they do too. But when it comes to team needs, tackle and wide receiver are their two biggest needs. And we'll get into one of their big free agent signings today. But let's look around the league at wide receiver. Most teams draft a guy, then add a guy. And the Patriots have failed to do both. Sometimes the key is to have a guy. Sometimes the key is to sign a guy and then draft a guy. Whatever. Let's look at the Bengals. The Bengals got lucky drafting both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. And look at them now. Big money, extensions together. It's how they've done it. And they're going to build their team around that. I don't know who's going to play defense for them. The Packers have a well-drafted receiver room. They have 3 guys that can literally draft inside, outside, you name it. They can do it. The Eagles had Devontae Smith. Then they traded for A.J. Brown, and they won a Super Bowl. Jalen Waddle is in Miami. Tyreek Hill, there's their combo. The Steelers have George Pickens. What do? They trade for DK Metcalf. Washington, they have Terry McLaurin. They go out and get Deebo Samuel. Right, the Ravens have Zay Flowers, but they've been trying to find that next guy. The Patriots don't have a guy. They need to draft and trade for a guy. They need one guy. What's holding them back? And maybe I'm getting on them for something that they're about to do. Maybe they are going to draft a Travis Hunter type or Travis Hunter and then go and sign a guy. Maybe I am complaining about something they haven't done yet. But you know what? Today, they got 0. They don't have a left tackle or a wide receiver. Or a young wide receiver, really. Like Pop Douglas, I think, can be fine, but I still worry about how much he can play. Jalen Pogue, it's still a question mark. Kendrick Bourne, I don't even know if he'll be on the team. I don't. But why haven't the Patriots? Why didn't they get a guy this offseason? Is it because they're the Patriots or is it because of money? Well, this from Tom Curran today, NBC Sports Boston. The Patriots were exceedingly wary of the negative impact a demanding veteran wideout could have on Drake Maye. I hate that take. And it's not you, Curran. It's not a you thing. I hate the idea that the Patriots were wary. The Patriots are wary? You have no receivers. What are you wary about? You need talent. You can't be a team who decides, not that guy, not guy. Cooper Kupp 15 now. You have nothing. You can't draft anything. You haven't been able to draft anything. So now you're going to wait for the draft and people are going to believe that that's the right case? That's the right thing to do? It's just, this is what a defensive-minded coach does. He wants to do things his way. And you know what? The Patriots themselves, they don't have to pay for the guy. Maybe they don't even use the fourth pick on a wide receiver. And if it's a tackle, you know it was a Vrabel decision. Last year, I think no matter what, they were going to draft a quarterback. I think that came from ownership. It was easy to do. But the fact that Drake Maye, who went to the Pro Bowl not because he's good, he went to the Pro Bowl to work with other star receivers. But, it could impact this play. Then why did he go to the damn Pro Bowl? I hate this take. I hate it. They didn't want to spend money on a receiver. Just say it. And now I don't even know if you can draft one. I don't even know. I just hate the report. I do think the Patriots want to draft and develop someone and then compliment them. Maybe it is Hunter. But in the end, it will be what Vrabel wants to do. I think Hunter should be the guy. Just remember, this is who you wanted as the coach. You wanted Mike Vrabel. You wanted the defensive mind. And now, you know what I think is going to happen eventually? Eventually, what's going to happen is when the 4th pick comes up, the Patriots desperately need a left tackle. Desperately. That quote, the Patriots are wary of a negative impact that a star wideout, he used demanding veteran, could have on Drake Maye. Could a young wide receiver have that same issue? Yes. Could a guy like Travis Hunter have that same issue? Yes. Yesterday, I felt like it was Travis Hunter. Today, I feel like it's more Will Campbell or some sort of tackle. They have such a need to fill at left tackle that I think they're not going to overlook it in the draft. I think they would rather protect their asset than go out and literally complement their best asset. 617-779-0985. Should probably mention today that the Patriots have signed a center. Garrett Bradbury, former first-round pick. It's a 2-year deal worth up to $12 million that includes almost a $4 million guarantee. He started all 88 games played for the Vikings. He was a good player. He's released now. And this after the Patriots released David Andrews. Bradbury's expected to replace him. If you really want to look into the numbers, do I think that Bradbury brings experience and leadership and can play the role? Yes. I would like to tell you that statistically, Bradbury gave up the most pressures amongst centers last year. They were looking for a replacement from this guy. And I've used this term before, and I might have to do it again. Other teams' trash is the Patriots' treasure. Bradbury's been a 6-year starter. He's undersized. He is athletic. But going up against bigger defensive tackles, he struggles. I know he brings experience. Ben Brown graded better last year than Bradbury at center. This is the move they made today. So, as of today, the Patriots' current offensive line, right to left, is Morgan Moses, Mike Nwenu, Garrett Bradbury, and Cole Strange. As much as they need a star wide receiver, an impactful wide receiver, in the end, their biggest need will be left tackle. And I think the Patriots are saying all the right things about Travis Hunter. They're saying all the right things about Will Campbell. In the end, I think they will draft a tackle. When the rest of the league is drafting the next wide receiver and then getting another star wide receiver, I mean, just look at the teams that have been to the Super Bowl. It's consistent. But yet, the new head coach, Mike Vrabel, he'll stick to the line. He'll stick to what he knows. And this is the guy the Patriots wanted and everybody else wanted. You want that star receiver. I think more and more as we look at it, they're going left tackle with their first pick. Oh, Joe. Maybe they need a tackle. I think the wide receivers are good enough. Okay. Because I don't think that room is good at all. And to just miraculously think that some people will take a huge year two turn. It doesn't happen. I'll give you just quarterbacks in general that took steps back. C.J. Stroud took a huge step back. Anthony Richardson took a huge step back. I know we saw some progression from him in a game against the Colts, but a lot of wide receivers take step backs. Chris Olave, I know he got injured, but I think he's one of the next up-and-coming wide receivers in the league. Michael Pittman, just these receivers, they're everywhere. But teams draft them. Drake London's another one in Atlanta. Like Michael Penix is here. Maybe they go out and get their next wide receiver to complement him. But, there are other guys of late where, like I mentioned the addition right now of Bradbury. I think his numbers weren't great. Do I think he's a starter and can hold down the job and be a leader? Yeah. But he wasn't great last year in a team that threw the ball a ton. So like the Raiders right now, their starting center is staying in the AFC West. He agreed to the deal with the Chargers. He goes from the Raiders to the Chargers, yet the Patriots get the guy that gets cut who can't, I don't want to say can't play anymore, but they cut him for a reason. And some guy says, hey, Joe, look at the Super Bowl team. All have elite receivers, but failed to mention the Eagles. It doesn't matter. A.J. Brown was a big part of it. One of the biggest plays in the Super Bowl was Devontae Smith. So don't tell me they barely passed. They won the game because they got out to a big lead. And yes, Saquon Barkley would close the door. But I don't understand why people defend the Patriots. And I get it. Every Super Bowl team had a great offensive line. And if that's the way you want to build it, maybe it is the right way. But this is what you wanted. You wanted Mike Vrabel. He has looked at defense. And maybe if it is the line, maybe that's a start. But to say that Drake Maye can't play with a star receiver, come on now. Out on that one. Absolutely out. Skaz, what'd you think of that one? Am I wrong? Like, do you think they should be looking at left tackle with the first pick because of need, or should they look for an explosive player like a Travis Hunter?
Yeah, I'm admittedly not the biggest Travis Hunter guy because I don't think he's a better cornerback than he is a wide receiver, and I don't think the Patriots need a cornerback right now. The Will Campbell thing, I get it with the short arms. I'm still in the camp that, trade back is not the worst option for this team. They need assets. They need players. And on the Drake Maye, like getting him a weapon thing, I can't wrap my head around not wanting to give your young quarterback a star wide receiver.
Mac Jones? Not to cut you off, but what did everyone say about Mac Jones?
Well, a lot of things, but he didn't have weapons.
He didn't have a weapon or a line. So is it the line first, then the weapons? Is there an order, Skaz? Is there a correct way here?
I mean, I think there's different ways to do it. The Bengals drafted Chase high and then have kind of tried to build a line. And I'm not going to say the Bengals are, an NFL pillar of what you should be trying to do because they missed the playoffs this year, largely in part to losing to the Patriots in Week 1. So I don't think there is a right way to do it, but the Patriots are not in a position to be, dismissing talent. And if they think Travis Hunter is that guy, then I'm for it. But I'm not for it if the reasoning is that he's, a way to get a wide receiver and a cornerback, or that he's a way to, kind of cheap out on one of those positions and play him both ways. I don't think that's a realistic option in the NFL. I think he's an above average corner and maybe, an average wide receiver. I'm not. So I can't believe the report that he's their number one receiver and their number one corner in the draft. I'm not a draft expert by any means, Joe, but on my personal big board, he is not the number one receiver or number one cornerback. So that's kind of where I pump the brakes on Travis Hunter. I think the idea of him playing both ways and being that versatile or being a number one receiver is much greater than the reality of what he actually is. And that's taking nothing away from him. I just think, the Patriots aren't in a position to, take that risk.
So do you think the Chiefs have only won because they have a good offensive line?
No, they have the best quarterback in sports, in football.
Do you think the Eagles only won because of their offensive line?
No, they had a good defensive line. They had A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, the best running back in the league.
Okay.
Talent. I would say talent.
Thank you. People are missing that word, Skaz. Talent. You can go get your left tackle at 4 or trade back to 8 or whatever. You still don't have a viable, talented wide receiver option for the quarterback, which was the problem you had in your last rebuild. It's annoying me. Oh, but you know what's good? They don't want to pay for one because, maybe a veteran in there could hurt Drake Maye's ego, stunt his development. What was he doing at the Pro Bowl? What was he doing there? Throwing a crap? I almost said, is he throwing a crap receivers? Or are those the best receivers?
Yeah, I almost take that as an indictment on Drake Maye. If you don't feel that he can handle a strong, personality, or you don't want someone in the room that might, challenge him or want the football, and you're already worried about that, why don't you worry about like the actual team on the football field? The wins and losses, trying to get some of those this year instead of, Drake Maye's feelings. He's an adult. You think he's going to be the franchise quarterback? I think he can handle it. I'd like to think the Patriots would have that same belief, but we're not getting that from these reports.
So I did not take that angle when I read that one, but it is interesting, right? Oh, so the Patriots stayed away from a star receiver because of Drake Maye.
I wonder if the Vikings are going to try and trade Justin Jefferson because they're not sure J.J. McCarthy can handle it.
I don't know. Maybe Addison. I don't know. Maybe they can't do.
It's a lot of talent around him. Might be too much talent.
Two good wide receivers. I don't know, man. It might not be good for J.J. They should bring in Rodgers. That's a good point. Like we don't talk about it.
I think the Falcons should trade Drake London. Michael Penix, that's too much talent. Keep Kyle Pitts.
Too much.
Definitely keep Kyle Pitts. But, Drake London, maybe look to move on.
Too much. We don't talk about this a lot, but we assume that Drake Maye is good. And trust me, I saw some things from him last year that I am very encouraged by. And do I think they put training wheels on him? Absolutely. And do I think part of his game is running? Yes. Do we know that he can play a full season? We don't. But I think complementing him with a star wide receiver, that would help him. And in a way, I know this is weird, but I think Drake Maye's ability to escape in the pocket and move around almost helps out the line in a way. Even though last year's line was putrid. But right now, Vidarian Lowe's their left tackle. Like, what's changed? Right now, their number one receiver is Demario Douglas. What has changed? Let's hear from you guys. 617-779-0985. Andy, it's in the car. What's up, Andy?
Hey, so I'm a Jets fan. First of all, first time, long time. And I'm a Jets fan, and I've seen bad offensive and defensive lines. And frankly, I really wanted Vrabel for the Jets. And I want you to be right. I want the Patriots to be bad. I just don't understand, why building from the line first with a proven head coach who can do that with limited talent isn't something you would sign up for.
Me, you mean? You mean a
Sorry, say that again?
You're talking about a tackle? And I'm not excited for it?
Yeah, build from the line. And then if some disgruntled wide receiver wants to get out, go get him in a trade.
Well, I'll say this. I think if you want a great left tackle, generally you will have to draft them. I don't think there's a great left tackle in the draft.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't know.
And it doesn't excite me. It doesn't excite me.
Yeah, left tackles aren't exciting. I get that. It's just
you're a Jets fan, right?
Patriots...
Did DeBrickashaw Ferguson work out?
I mean,
yeah.
You really put me in a pretzel here,
He was the fourth overall pick, and he was good.
He was good, but they weren't good.
Mekhi Becton. He had to go to the Eagles to win a ring.
And I know that they have Garrett Wilson now and whatever.
Yeah, it goes both ways. There is no, exact science to this. The Jets have drafted some good offensive linemen and, some not so good. They took Jamal Adams with the 6th overall pick. I don't think that was a great draft.
He's out of the league, I think, right now. I understand the left tackle stuff. I get it. And if they got Will Campbell at 4, it's who they identified, and fine. It's their guy forever. I just think it's risky drafting a guy that some project to play inside. And I'll give you the names in case you don't listen every night. The guys that get drafted 4th overall at tackle are Trent Williams. He's pretty good. Lane Johnson, see him? He's good. I even mentioned Ferguson. I thought he was damn good with the Jets. So those are the guys you draft 4th overall at tackle. And do I even have to go further back to the, guys, big time guys, Willie Rove, Jonathan Ogden, Orlando Pace. Like when you're the best tackle, you're identified right away. Joe Alt was considered the best tackle a year ago. Joe Alt was one of the best right tackles, at least for the rookie class a year ago. And, they got 2 great tackles on that team. But how did Justin Herbert do this year, Skaz, without the star wide receiver? Because I know Ladd turned in to be their number 1. Palmer's gone now. Johnson's been a bust. So, Keenan Allen's gone. Mike Williams gone. How did they do in the playoffs with that great offensive line?
Yeah, I think if you're a Chargers fan, the one thing you're looking for is that elite wide receiver still. Ladd McConkey's a very good player, but not enough. And they're I wouldn't say exactly a similar position, but that's a defensive head coach. Well, Harbaugh, I think he's a quarterback guy, but he always has a good defense. He's a trenches guy, I guess is what we should say.
Yep.
And you're kind of seeing
he avoided the wide receiver.
Exactly.
He got rid of the wide receivers.
Yes.
And Herbert looked like garbage in the playoff. But he's got his offensive line, though. He's got his offensive line. Stanley's in town.
Joe, how are you, sir? It's been a while.
How you doing?
Not bad. So to your commentary here, sir, you said it, Bertrand said it, Maserati said it. Your tackles in the first round is not 100%, and that was something you guys said about a couple months ago. The Patriots have been doing a good job drafting offensive linemen in the 3rd, 2nd, or 4th or 5th rounds. And with this whole commentary about they want to develop Drake Maye, you might as well draft T-Mac because Travis Hunt is a bona fide cornerback, not a wide receiver. If he's going to be a wide receiver, he has to pack on at least 20 pounds of muscle. So the other thing is, too, if you don't get T-Mac, you might as well trade for Olave because Drake Maye's smart enough not to throw hospital balls at Olave like Derek Carr does. So, that's the only 2 scenarios because the Patriots are cheap. The Patriots have been cheap since the day Brady left this building 5 years ago. You drafted Harry. Harry showed a crappy work ethic where you could have drafted A.J. Brown. The dude was so ecstatic to be a Patriot. You passed on him, and he complained about it on a podcast. So you have to get it right this time. You just have to get it right.
Thanks, Stanley. Twitter, did Tyreek Hill stunt Tua's growth? Did Stephon Diggs stunt Josh Allen's growth? I know they won without him, but did it stunt his growth? No. Did A.J. Brown impact or hurt Jalen Hurts' growth at all? No. What about Xavier Worthy this year? He was pretty good, right? I know he got in trouble again, but elite wide receivers help young quarterbacks. They don't hurt. I want an example of a receiver that hurt a young quarterback. I haven't done the exercise yet, but I want an example. I need an example. So to say you're wary, give me examples. How about Josh? Is there a giant? Did any Giants? Were they? Malik Neighbors pretty good, right?
I was going to say, he's probably the biggest bright spot on the Giants this year.
Is their wide receiver. Their line stinks, but they locked up a guy who got drafted 4th overall. They drafted the guy 4th overall and have a wide receiver. Now they need a quarterback. There is no science to this guess. I just don't want to hear you wary. Out. We'll get to the Sports Hub headlines coming up now here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. If you like that clip, check out more videos from my show, The Joe Murray Show, here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.